Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. Warcraft's newest project, Season of Discovery, has so far been a massive success. So many players fall in love with the rune system and the discovery element of it, and how you can customize your classes in so many different ways while keeping the game as much classic World of Warcraft as humanly possible. But as fun as SoD has been so far, so many players are craving even more content and even more updates. And today, Blizzard made a blog post announcing all of the official features that are going to be part of Phase 2 of SoD, which includes additional class quality of life improvements, so many different ways to augment your character with additional runes, as well as rune slots, additional content from raids and open world activities, but also surprising new restrictions on how players will end up raiding with one another once Phase 2 officially goes live. So in today's video, I wanted to cover every major feature that will be arriving to this exceptionally good game mode within Phase 2. But right before that, basic YouTuber stuff. Most of you guys watching these kind of updates are still not subscribed. However, the more of you remind, the more of you do. So let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell if you're watching these videos anyway. Especially if you want to get more regular content of Phase 2 Season of Discovery. The very first feature worth going over is the new quality of life skill books being added for classes as part of Phase 2 update. In Phase 2, you'll be able to now find a variety of different skill books within 5-player dungeon instances. And a lot of these skill books are focused on quality of life improvements for a variety of different playstyles. For example, as a paladin, if you feel like you have short aura durations, enhanced blessings will allow you to extend their duration, or shamans who want to have better control over the totems will be able to use totemic projections to move them, and rogues that want to be able to better manipulate comm points will be able to choose redirect to adjust your comm points from target to target. A lot of these skills are going to also be taught to your character baseline and will not take up a rune slot to make sure that your character is able to have further growth with additional runes as of the Phase 2 update. And while we're at it, we might as well talk about new runes being added in the Phase 2. As part of this update, the devs are adding 2 more armor slots to be able to be imbued with additional runes, specifically the belt slot as well as the boot slot. This means that every single class will be walking around with 5 runes imbued on their armor, with so many different runes that can go in each slot, which will give players so much more room for creativity and experimentation with some of these runes as well as rune combinations to craft the build that they really want to play. Part of this update will also add additional runes for every single class. While they don't have the entire list of every rune that is being added to keep the mystery and the sense of discovery as part of the Season of Discovery, they did provide us with a small preview of some of the runes that each class is going to gain. For druids, if you played any of the recent World of Warcraft retail expansions, abilities such as Eclipse and King of the Jungle might be familiar. Eclipse is going to allow your Wrath to increase the critical chance of your Starfire stacking up to 4 times, and vice versa, with Starfire building up the crit effect of your Wrath, which will allow druids to shift between their arcane and nature elements in order to be able to maximize that crit value. While Feral Druids will be able to gain King of the Jungle, where Tiger's Fury will increase all physical damage dealt by 15%, granting you a bunch of energy while also being off of the GCD. Paladins will get melee hybrid runes like Sheath of Light, which will allow your melee attacks to build up spell power, or Guarded by Light, which will allow your weapon melee hits to restore mana over time. Hunters will become full melee experts, specializing in abilities such as Raptor Strike and Mongoose Bite, and can pick up Trap Launcher to gain a better range on your trap abilities. Warriors will get a party defensive buff of Rallying Cry and Blood Surge in order to increase the damage of the next slam. And rogues will finally get the ability to AoE multiple enemies at once, which will help out tanky rogues in particular, but also will enhance their openers with Master of Subtlety. Priest will gain a more modern version of the Mind Spike ability, which will enhance the damage of your Mind Blast, or Pain Suppression to greatly reduce the damage an ally takes for 8 seconds. Warlocks get runes like Invocation, which will reward you for refreshing your dots right as they're about to fall off. Or a tank rune of Dance of the Wicked, which increases yours and your pet's dodge chance every time you land a critical strike on the enemy, and will also gain 2% maximum mana when this occurs. Mages will get runes such as Missile Barrage, where basic abilities like Arcane Blast, Fireball, and Frostbolt can reduce the cost as well as the duration of your next arcane missiles, making it much more burstier. Or Chronostatic Preservation, which allows you to take a bit of your arcane, fire, and frost magic into a chronomatic energy and then store it for later, and then you can unleash it to heal a friendly target. The class of Shaman is finally getting two-handed mastery, which is exactly what every Shaman wanted to see for quite a bit of time. You also get Spirit of the Alpha, which can be infused on ally, increasing threat generated by that target by 45%, kinda like a reverse version of Blessing of Salvation. You also get Maelstrom Weapon, which allows you to deal damage with a melee attack, has a chance to reduce the cast time of your next Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Lesser Heal, Healing Wave, Chain Heal, or Lava Burst by 20%, stacking up to 5 times. There's also a new experience buff coming to the phase 2 of Season of Discovery. For players that are still stuck in the 1 to 25 level brackets, you will now gain 50% additional experience to catch up to everybody else now playing in phase 2. You'll also be able to get increased experience gains by running the Black Fathom Deep's raid dungeon, but only once you clear the instance. Submitting in your waylaid supplies will also award additional experience, but apparently more info is yet to come on how waylaid supplies will be able to increase your experience gains. Next, let's talk about the content, starting with the new raid boss mechanics, as well as new gear available from the Mechagon dungeon raid. Most of the bosses in Mechagon are going to have additional mechanics for you to watch out for, and will even be located in different parts of the instance dungeon, which is expected if you've experienced the Black Fathom Deep's dungeon raid before. The new raid also has a lot of new items for you to collect. You should know that all of these items are still a work in progress, but already we see some of the different elements they're going to be adding into this instance. For any druid players, you will notice now there's a new automatic crowd pummeler mace being added into this instance that grants you additional attack power in cat, bear, and dire bear forms, as well as has an on-use effect to mimic the original crowd pummeler item. But you also have plenty of other unique weapons, items, and trinkets that can even combine together, such as the Bonk Maestro's handguards that can be combined for fist-focused builds. You'll also be able to find some of the wackier gnomish-themed items and trinkets, as well as brand new tier sets and tiered tokens. If you're missing some of the tiered tokens, you'll be able to exchange them from a vendor to get new items to help complete your set. Next, I want to go over some of the more open world activities, starting with the new Blood Moon event that will happen in Stranglethorn Vale. The Blood Moon will shine over the entire zone, enacting a red fog in the area, with the event occurring roughly every 3 hours with a 30-minute duration. During the Blood Moon, players will be able to group up together into a small party, but players that find themselves in a massive raid will be punished. The details behind the punishments and what will happen to players when they group up in a raid is still unknown, but the idea for the Blood Moon event is to promote smaller group PvP, instead of having a handful of players being absolutely zerged by a massive 40-man raid. You will also be able to opt out of any PvP activities in Stranglethorn if you wish to, which allows players that are more PvE focused or focused on questing and leveling their character to be able to level and quest in peace. Participating in the new Blood Moon event will also give you a chance to earn some class-specific rewards, like a Mage Ring or a Mace for Warriors, and there will also be 2 new PvP mounts to earn from the event, one for Alliance and one for the Horde. They also got additional updates for players looking to queue Battlegrounds in Phase 2. Basically, the gist is, players that are going to be in groups will be more likely to queue into other players that are also in groups, whether we're talking about a 5-man group or a 10-man group pre-made. With pre-mades more likely to face other pre-mades, this gives more chances for solo players doing solo Battleground queues to run into other groups with solo players. However, this rule is going to be removed or turned off temporarily if the queues are taking too long, which will hopefully lead to more even Battleground matches instead of having pre-mates rolling over everybody else. Professions have gotten additional upgrades and recipes for you to unlock as well, with lots of on-news helmets to collect and craft. As per usual, it might be a good idea to start getting into professions early, or find somebody that's going to be working on these professions, maybe somebody in your guild, maybe a friend of yours on the same server, to help you craft some of these items in the future. Lastly, and this is the big one, rather than being a feature, it's more of like new restriction coming to the Phase 2, there will be no more GDKP runs after Phase 2 has officially launched. A new policy is being put forward that makes GDKP runs no longer allowed once the update is officially live over on the Season of Discovery realms. In a blue post, they mentioned that the GDKP run so far has been seen as against the spirit of discovery in the Season of Discovery, and they're not necessarily as good as a standard traditional guild experience within a raid, and to some degree goes against the social structure that is intended with the classic World of Warcraft experience. This restriction will go live with the launch of Phase 2 on February the 8th. Definitely an interesting decision by the devs, and we'll see how it pans out over the next few weeks. And for now, that's going to be every single official feature that's arriving with the launch of Phase 2 Season of Discovery, which will be happening in just a handful of weeks. Which leaves you with a little bit of time left if you plan to play a character in Phase 2 or plan to pick up SoD for the very first time. But otherwise, I want to thank all of you guys so much for watching this video and hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. As per usual, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single video and live stream, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video or hang out with the rest of the community to discuss some of the upcoming changes. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.